The Upanishads, translated by FX Muller in two parts. Part 2, Introduction to the Mundaka-Upanishad. This is an Upanishad of the Atharva Veda. It is a mantra Upanishad, i.e., it has the form of a mantra, but as the commentators observe, though it is written in verse, it is not, like other mantras, to be used for sacrificial purposes. Its only object is to teach the highest knowledge, the knowledge of Brahman, which cannot be obtained either by sacrifices or by worship, upasana, but by such teaching only as is imparted in the Upanishad. A man may 100 times restrain his breath, and so on, but without the Upanishad his ignorance does not cease, nor is it right to continue forever in the performance of sacrificial and other good works. If one wishes to obtain the highest knowledge of Brahman, the sannyasin alone, who has given up everything, is qualified to know and to become Brahman. And though it might be that it seems such from Vedic legends that grihasthas also, who continued to live with their families, performing all the duties required of them by law, had been in possession of the highest knowledge, this, we are told, is a mistake. Works and knowledge can be as little together as darkness and light. This Upanishad, too, has been often translated since it first appeared in the Persian translation of Dara Shukko. My own copy of the text and Sankara's commentary from the manuscript in the Chambers collection was made in October 1844. Both are now best accessible in the Bibliotheca Indica, where Dr. Brewer has published the text. The commentary by Sankara, a gloss by Ananda Jnana, and an English translation with notes. The title of the Upanishad, Mundaka, has not yet been explained. The Upanishad is called Mundaka-Upanishad, and its 3 chapters are each called Mundakam. Native commentators explain it as the shaving Upanishad, that is, as the Upanishad which cuts off the errors of the mind, like a razor. Another Upanishad is also called Kshurika, a razor, a name which is explained in the text itself as meaning an instrument for removing illusion and error. The title is all the more strange because Mundaka, in its commonest acceptation, is used as a term of reproach for Buddhist mendicants, who are called shavelings, in opposition to Brahmins, who dress their hair carefully and often display by its peculiar arrangement either their family or their rank. Many doctrines of the Upanishads are, no doubt, pure Buddhism, or rather Buddhism is, on many points, the consistent carrying out of the principles laid down in the Upanishads. Yet, for that very reason, it seems impossible that this should be the origin of the name, unless we suppose that it was the work of a man who was, in one sense, a Mundaka, and yet faithful Brahmanic law. And let us remember that Buddhism comes from Buddha Yoga, and sort of a consolidation of figures becoming Buddhi. But inspiration and revelation comes in verse form. So the Mundaka-Upanishad very well could have been a revelation to a prophet figure, if we're going to call it that. But aside from that, the scriptures tended to be stylized in some way, and by scriptures I mean the sacred writings of pretty much every tradition, except some of these New Age traditions where you don't get people that write well. Or, maybe they write well, but they just don't write with poetry and prose. Or, well, those aren't exactly appropriate words to talk about the Quran, for example. because there's stuff that is meant by those terms that it doesn't apply, and some other scriptures that wouldn't apply with that either. But things don't have to be for specific rituals. It can be for spiritual studies and spiritual instructions. And even if they are for rituals, the rituals are to instruct us.